Hello, good evening all. Uh, in today's class, we will discuss about a little more about the classifications of chromatography techniques. And in the yesterday class, I have discussed about the chromatography concept, the basic concept of the chromatography, the application part, and the principles of the chromatography. So, in today's class, we are going to present the classifications of the chromatography. As you all know, that the chromatography is a modern method of food analysis method, and it is a physical methods in which the substances can be separated or identified or purified on the basis of the partial coefficient or adsorption phenomena. So the classifications of the chromatography is basically based on the three ways. The first one is based on the shape of the chromatography bed. The shape either may be the planar shape or the column shape. When the plain paper or the thin layers used, when thin layer of solid substance is used, so that comes under the planar chromatography. And when the chromatographic column is used for the separation of the particles, then it comes under the column chromatography. The first classification is based on the chromatographic beds, and the second classification of the chromatography is based on the physical state of mobile and stationary phase. As I told earlier, that the two phases are used for the separation of the particles or the components in a sample mixture. So if we use gas as a mobile phase or liquid as a mobile phase, then it can be said that the gas chromatography or the liquid chromatography. The third classification is based on the separation mechanism of separation, and in this category the ion exchange chromatography, partition chromatography, affinity and adsorption chromatography comes under. So so uh, based on the shapes of the chromatography beds, so this type of chromatography is again divided into two parts. First one is planar chromatography, in which paper chromatography and thin layer chromatography comes under this category. And in column chromatography, the gas chromatography and liquid chromatography is used. In column chromatography, basically the mobile phase is either the gas material or the liquid form. So which form is used for the purpose of separation of the particles. So on the basis of the mobile phase, these classifications can be done. So so a little more about the planar chromatography. In planar chromatography, basically the stationary phase we will use. So it is based on the plane. It is present on the plane. For maintaining this plane, we will use about the different types of papers like cellulose paper or any kind of Wattman paper. Wattman number 1 to 20 can be used. So when the paper is used as a stationary phase, so it comes in the paper chromatography. And when thin layer of any substances like silica gel, for maintaining this plane on glass or metal or any plastic plate, so this comes under the thin layer chromatography. So in planar chromatography, two categories are there. The first one is paper chromatography, and the another one is thin layer chromatography. The paper and thin layer chromatography is also termed as open bed chromatography, in which the open bed, the plain place surface is used for the separation. So it comes under the open bed chromatography. Okay, so now come to the paper chromatography. And the paper chromatography is basically, it is a analytic techniques, and it is used for the separation and quality analysis of components of mixtures, and for the purification and identification of a compounds in a mixture of substances. This type of techniques is used, and by using this paper chromatography, we can analyze different amino acids composition in a sample. We identify and purify and separated the different amino acids in a sample mixer. So the main principle of this chromatography is that the components of the mixture will get separated between the mobile phase and the stationary phase. So here is the stationary phase is the paper, any kind of paper, and it is basically high quality filter paper are used most commonly as a stationary phase. And in the mobile phase, basically the aqueous solution on the normal water or the ethanol or any type of organic solvents or the mixture of solvents can be used for the separation of the components. So so and uh, and the separation is based on the solubility or the uh, is based on the solubility of these samples in a mobile phase or their affinity or their interaction between the stationary phase and the mobile phase. When the sample containing the mixture of substances are more polar in nature, means their affinity for the water is or what or they come under the category of the water loving, so their more interaction is there with the mobile phase. So when the substances present in the samples are more aqueous in nature or more polar in nature, so they travel fast as compared to those substances which have non-polar in nature. So here is the mechanism of the separation of these chromatography. So first of all, for the separation of the chromatography and a placing a small dot of a sample solution onto a strip of chromatography paper. So the here is we are using chromatographic paper. So at the end of the chromatography paper, just above the 2 centimeter above the corner of the paper, a small dot is placed. A small dot containing the sample is placed on the strip, and then it can be travel with the mobile phase. When this sample solution is placed in the solvent mixture or the solvent, the mobile phase which is used as a organic matter or the aqueous solutions, when they travel with the help of capillary action, the mobile phase rises or travel with the help of the capillary action. So the sample spotting can move with this mobile phase in upward directions. Okay, so here you can see that a small spot of sample is applied to a strip of chromatography paper just above the 2 centimeter away from the base of the plane. So here you can see that the sample is placed on the corner of the paper just above the 2 centimeter above the paper, and this sample is absorbed onto the paper and may form interaction with it. So here is a solvent which is placed in the beaker or any type of container in which the sample solution in which the solution is placed. Then the paper is placed in the sample solution and spotting is done. When the paper is placed in a sample solution, with the help of the capillary action, the mobile phase run upward the direction with the help of the capillary action. So the paper is then dipped into the solvent, and the solvent either may be the ethanol or the water which can be used. This spot is move upward direction through the capillary action. Here you can see that this is the black color shows the chromatography paper, and there are the three spotting which are shown with the red color, blue color and green color. Okay, as I told that the solvent moves upward directions with the help of the capillary action, and the sample dissolve in a mixture will travel up the paper with the help of solvent solute sample. And there is an interaction between the mobile phase and the stationary phase, and on the basis of their interaction, the sample moves upward direction or the and the travel at different rate with the affinity for the mobile phase or the stationary phase. So for the completion of this chromatography technique, it takes around the several minutes to several hours for the separation, and the analysis can be done according to the spots corresponding to different components and which may be located to their color. So either the analysis can be done either the changing in the color of the spot, or the UV light is required to see the movement of these particles or travel given by the particles. So, and the net hydrate solution and Valin solution is also used for the for analyzing these sample solutions. And and another one is the iodine vapor. So the chromatography paper is placed in the iodine vapor, so it can be also used for the separation or for the analysis part of the sample solution. So two types of chromatography comes under the paper chromatography. Actually, three types. The one is the ascending chromatography, and the second one is the descending chromatography, and the third one is radial chromatography. So in ascending chromatography, basically the solvent is in the pool at the bottom of the vessel. So here is the example of ascending chromatography, in which you can see that the beaker containing the beaker containing the paper, and the solvent is placed at the bottom of the at the bottom of the paper. So this type of chromatography is ascending chromatography. And and uh, descending chromatography, basically the solvent is placed at the top of the chamber, and the paper is placed at the bottom of the paper. So here is the liquid moves by the action of the capillary action as well as the gravitational force. The gravitational force is required to move the sample solution or the mobile phase. So one thing is that, so in ascending chromatography, the solvent pool is placed at the bottom of the vessels, and in descending chromatography, the solvent is placed at the top of the chamber of the chromatography. So, what are the significance of this paper chromatography is that it is a very simple, very easy, very rapid and highly efficient method of the separation, and it can be used for the purification, for the identification, and for the separation of a different components present in the sample. It can be applied in even in the micrograms quantity of samples. So, very less amount of samples are required to for the separation. It can also be used for the separation of wide varieties of materials like amino acids, proteins, oligosaccharides, and glycosides, purine and pyrimidine bases, steroids, vitamins, and alcohols, and other alkaloids. So, these are the significance and the applications of the chromatography. So, in the next class, we will discuss about the thin layer chromatography. So, okay, bye, bachcho.